Well, we're back again with yet another No Fluff analysis, and this time we're going to be talking about the prize showcase running from the 2nd of April to the 9th of April UTC. Let's cut the fluff and get straight to it with the first adventurer added, the 5-star Shadow Sword, Alberius, the dragon-blooded hero. Alberius' first skill is Circlet Dawn. Alberius transforms into High Chthonius, dealing 981% damage across 3 hits and inflicting Shadow Blight, before returning to human form and dealing an additional 1300% damage across 2 hits. You'll notice that I divided up the hits into separate instances of damage, and that's because the hits from Chthonius benefit from dragon damage abilities, whereas the follow-up hits do not. Just a minor note to guide your thinking. Alberius' second skill is Exalted Inception. Alberius transforms into High Midgardsormr before dealing 2168% damage across 8 hits, inflicting stun with a 100% chance and granting 5% dragon gauge. Alberius has the standard sword, dragon haste co-ability, and his chain co-ability grants shadow units 12% dragon damage. Alberius' first ability is Shapeshift Prep and Dragon Defense, granting him 25% Shapeshift Prep as well as gaining 25% defense in dragon form. This defense bonus also applies to the dragon form windows in Alberius' skills. His second ability is Blindness Resist, and his final ability is Dragon's Fierce Rule. Alberius' attacks in dragon form will dispel buffs, and that includes his skills. This doesn't apply to the AoE damage triggered by transformation, but that's a pretty minor point. Overall, Alberius is a fairly interesting addition. With his final ability, he becomes a dispel spammer that also gains tankiness while using his skills. His unique ability to benefit from dragon damage with his skills also means that he'll build a bit differently as a result, perhaps utilising the new print we received from the 2.5 anniversary login rewards. I'll cover that print in a bit. As for the role he covers, he's a weird amalgamation of tanky, dragon-centric dispel spammer as well as a Shadow Blight enabler, most of which is useful for the Legend Cayenne fight. While that fight is fairly dragon unfriendly, natural dispels as part of a DPS rotation puts him in a similar role to Belina. Another thing to note, since he dragon forms as part of his skills, there's a good chance that he's immune to afflictions and debuffs during those windows as well. As part of a discussion I had in a Twitch stream chat recently, if the Sinister Dominion fights for shadow units apply the Curse of Nihility in a similar way, there's a good chance that you can basically iframe the curse with Alberius' skills to enable him to benefit from buffs for the entirety of the fight. It would, however, be pretty painful to mess up only once, but something interesting to note if you're into hyper-optimizing a fight, though I'm not entirely sure how practical that would be. As for the other traps present in his kit, the temporary transformations triggered by his skills don't activate scaling mechanics such as Dragon's Claws, Skill, or Scales. Only an actual shapeshift will trigger those, and Alberius' skills don't benefit from Dracolith bonuses, though they do benefit from the base 1.2 times dragon damage modifier. All in all, an interesting dispel spammer that might become a bit more relevant once the Sinister Dominion fight is released, but otherwise fairly middle of the road until then. I'm noticing a bit of a pattern here. The dragon added with the showcase is the 5-star Shadow Dragon, High Chthonius, the Eternal Dreamer. His skill is Nether Blast, dealing 2462% damage across 6 hits, drawing enemies together and inflicting Shadow Blight. High Chthonius' first ability is Strength and High Dragon's Might, granting 65% strength, as well as a further 20% for each shapeshift, up to twice per quest. The strength increase is in the ability bracket, not the buff bracket, and so is unaffected by the Curse of Nihility. Chthonius' second ability is Steeled Dragon's Endurance, passively increasing the max hit points by 30% once the user has shapeshifted twice. High Chthonius brings immense passive scaling to characters that are able to shapeshift. Plus 105% strength after 2 transformations outstrips the bonus from Fatalis, even after 1 transformation, making High Chthonius a valuable asset to force striking Legend Cayenne into oblivion. Even compared to Shinobi, if you assume a 40% skill damage print is being used, High Chthonius' maximum bonus when using skills beats out Shinobi by about just under 4%. but the overall strength bonus beats out Shinobi over 5 times. High Chthonius handily beats out Shinobi, and Fatalis were pure adventurer boosts, though I'm sure he still somewhat loses out to Cat Shi depending on the adventurer. Overall, he's likely a good pickup if you want to power up your Shadow roster even more, but if you already have Shadow Dragons such as Cat Shi and Arsene, High Chthonius should be considered more of a luxury. Unless Cygames suddenly decides that Cat Shi's buffs aren't immune to the Curse of Nihility. While not part of the showcase, we still have some other additions to review, our latest Raid Adventurer as well as some Wyrmprints, so without further ado, the Raid Adventurer added was the 5-star Wind Bow Humanoid Midgardsormr, the Hero of Storms. I'll be referring to him as Humid from now on. Humid's first ability is Windworm's Nature. Humid always transforms into Midgardsormr when shapeshifting, and gains 18% dragon damage. Humid's first skill is Ancient Tempest, dealing 2300% damage and granting 3.5% dragon gauge. Humid's second skill is Catastrophic Blast, dealing 2800% damage across 4 hits and inflicting Stormlash. He has the standard bow skill haste co-ability, and his chain co-ability grants wind units 20% dragon haste. As for his second ability, Humid has bog resist, and his final ability is 10% shapeshift prep. Humid has a simple but very effective kit, enabling Stormlash as well as fueling his own unique dragon form with a dragon skill hitting for over 2800% damage. In this regard, he's often compared to Mim, to the point where Humid was used to great effect during High Mercury's double drops period, speed clearing Master High Mercury in roughly 15 seconds or less. He's a great addition to the roster, fueling Dragon Gauge in solo teams as well as granting Skill Haste and Dragon Haste as a co-op backliner, perfect for buffer units such as Templar Hope or Dragon Yor Zanfrid. His No Frills kit and bog resist means that Humids can be used for the majority of Wind's current endgame, and I'm sure that he can be used in Legend Ciela 2 with enough dedication. As for Wyrmprints added, we first have the 5-star event Wyrmprint Holy Worms Advent, granted with the latest 2.5 anniversary login rewards. This Wyrmprint reduces defense by 15%, but grants 18% dragon damage, 15% shapeshift time, and 8% dragon haste. In exchange for losing a bit of defense, you gain the bonuses that would otherwise take 3 Wyrmprints to gain. This is an immensely powerful print for Dragonform-centric characters, but of course, you'll need to be mindful of the reduced defense. Well, the reduced defense is only important if it means that otherwise non-lethal attacks suddenly become lethal. My only regret is that this print doesn't have the Dragon's Boon affinity. As for permanent additions, we have the first 5-star print Springtime Breeze, granting staff units 40% skill damage. Blade mains are dead in a ditch. Of the small handful of staves that have offensive skills such as Heinwald, Sophie, Orion, Halloween Althemia, and Galazena, only Heinwald really makes decent use of this. The other 3 and 4-star staves don't charge their offensive skills often enough for this to be worthwhile, and the majority of Galazena's damage comes from her Force Strikes. This is a Heinwald print through and through, until we get someone else to rival him as an offensive staff unit. The second print added is the 4-star Wyrmprint 2 Mims, granting wand units 15% recovery potency. Rounding out the set of prints for classes that don't focus on those roles, we give wands healing potency. Off the top of my head, there's Garlic Cleo's regen, Zena's regen, and Miriam's burst heal from her S2 once she has a team strength amp. I'm sure there's more, but typically you bring wands for damage. Amplifying their small amount of healing is probably not the most efficient use of a Wyrmprint slot, but who knows, maybe this could become part of some sort of 4 healing wand cheese setup, where you can skip using a healer? Maybe Dragon Yor Zanfrid could heal harder with Freya. I'm not sure. Freya's healing is typically overkill anyway. As for the showcase overall, it's really only about Alberius and High Chthonius. Alberius mainly covers the role of Dispel Spammer, and possibly maybe more useful when the Sinister Dominion fight comes out. If you're lacking Dispel Spammers in shadows such as Belina or Joker, then Alberius could be a decent pickup. When it comes to High Chthonius, I think he's mainly a minor upgrade over Shinobi, maybe Fatalis, but if you already have dragons such as Cat Shi, then I think High Chthonius is probably not the most efficient use of your Wyrmite. All in all, I think this showcase is probably better for newer players who lack key players in their Shadow roster such as the Dispel spammers I mentioned earlier, or powerful Shadow Dragons. For more veteran players, I think it's probably either a case of, oh wow, you really want these unique story characters, or, I don't know, you just like whaling? Either way, you know the drill. I'm not your boss, do what you want. I'm sure most people have already pulled by this point, but hey, you know what? Do what makes you happy. As always, take it easy, stay safe, and I wish you luck in your upcoming pulls.